All right, everybody, as promised, this is part 3. This will be the finale of the What is Naloxone miniseries. Now, for the third part of the series, I'm just going to go over when I myself had to administer Naloxone and what to expect when doing it. Now, a little bit about me and who I am and when I've had to use it. I've worked in male treatment facilities as an addictions counselor. I still hold the title of addictions counselor, and I'm going to be doing a lot more with that in the future. I then got the role as many tenant support jobs, working in single resident occupancy units where open drug use is a common occurrence, and you must be trained to Narcan an individual if they were to drop. Me myself, I've never had any shortage of using these kits. Like, these kits are a miracle. There's not one part of this world that's not being touched by an opiate epidemic. In my professional role, me administering this, yes, it bothered me, but not to the extent that it bothers me when I've actually had to use this on somebody that I care about. That, for me, is when the panic set in. I remember going to Narcan my friend, and I didn't know how long he's been down for, and I was fumbling. I was breaking the glass. I went through 2 Narcan kits and only got 3 doses into him, because that's the physical, emotional impact that it had on me performing this on somebody I truly care about. And I'm not gonna lie, it's upsetting. When you administer this to someone and you don't get the desired result that you want, anytime I've ever administered this into somebody, I want them to come back. I know that person has a family that loves them, a wife, a kid, a mom, a dad, a brother, a sister. But the sad reality is they don't always come back. The personal level is probably the one that affects me the most. I remember pulling up to one of my friend's driveways, seeing his car in the driveway. We knew that he's been using, and I was desperately trying to get access to his unit. The personal level is probably the one that affects me the most. I remember pulling up to one of my friend's driveways, seeing his car in the driveway. We knew that he's been using, and I was desperately trying to get access to his unit. This caused me to try every window, every door, and eventually I was able to wrap his wood covering so it released, so I was able to enter through his living room. The hardest part about coming across him was he's somebody who had a personal relationship. I was almost going to choose him to be my sponsor because of how strong his recovery was. At first glance, when I jumped through his window, I swear to God, I saw his eyes glaze to meet mine. And that gave me so much hope in that moment because I thought he was still alive. The first thing I did was rush to the couch and I started to smack him and try to stimulate him to see if I can get some kind of response. Once I administered 3 Narcans to him, he was still unresponsive. My next plan of action was I was going to pull him from the couch and lay him flat to start doing CPR. Now this is where it got real. When I moved him from the couch, rigor mortis had already set in. He was still in the sitting position when I had him on the floor, and I was desperately trying to flatten him so I could do the CPR compressions and administer breath and wait for the 911 response team to arrive. I worked on him up until the paramedics arrived. I knew as soon as I moved him off the couch that he was gone. It's pretty evident when they're gone. If you're familiar with seeing people in an overdose state. If you do go through a situation like I did, and you went through multiple situations where the person just was not able to come back, don't let that deter you. If anything, I take the wins as they come. Save multiple young people's lives by administering this. The trick is to not blame yourself. Don't blame yourself. You're out doing God's work. You're doing everything that you can in your power to make the community safer. Don't ever let an experience like I just shared deter you from your life path and your recovery. You're put here to do, and that's to save people's lives. That is truly what I believe. God put me on this